What's going on, everyone? Real Red Politics here. Welcome back to another video on my channel. I think I figured out the microphone issue, so hopefully it doesn't cut out anymore. But today we're going to be doing a DeSantis versus Biden video in terms of like a 2024 possible prediction video. Now, do I think DeSantis will be the nominee? No, because I don't think he'll actually run. I think Trump would be the nominee. I think he will be the nominee. I think he probably is the best chance that the Republicans have at winning the actual presidential election in 24, especially as of right now, considering Trump was a very popular president, still is a very popular president, and he's a really strong candidate. But we are going to get into the video. I'm going to take into consideration a couple of things. I'm going to take into consideration the current approval rating. I'm going to take into consideration the 2022 midterm election results in Florida in terms of the governor's race, and I'm also going to look at the 2020 presidential results. And the only reason I specifically have chosen Florida is because that's where DeSantis is from. So we're going to start with the safe Republican states: Montana, Idaho, Wyoming, Utah, North Dakota, South Dakota, Nebraska, and all of its districts, Kansas, Oklahoma. And I'm going to say Texas. I think DeSantis is going to do very well in the Sunbelt region. I think he'll actually sweep the majority of the Sunbelt region, to be honest. I'm going to go with Alaska, Iowa, Missouri, Arkansas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Florida. For sure, he did win this. He won the governor's seat by almost 20 points. South Carolina, Tennessee, Kentucky. I'm going to say Ohio as well. I think Ohio. I think he'll perform very well, especially in the Rust Belt region. I think he is, popular enough. And then we're also going to fill in Maine's 2nd district. So that's what we have as safe Republican seats. Don't worry, I'll take a look at Florida and kind of explain why I think it's going to go safe Republican. But I do think it is no longer a swing state. I do believe that with all things considered, like I said, including the election results in the midterms, I think it's safe to say it's a safe Republican seat. I did predict DeSantis winning by at least 10 points. I don't think he would have won by almost 20 without Trump's endorsement. I think he would have won between 10 and 15, which is still the safe margin. But I think Trump's endorsement actually did help him get to that almost 20 mark, which I think is still pretty outstanding. So now we're going to go sit the safe Democrat votes. Got the safe Democrat states: Washington, Oregon, California, Hawaii, Colorado, Illinois. Oh, I almost forgot Indiana. My bad. Indiana is safe, right? And West Virginia. Then we have states of. We're gonna go with Massachusetts, Rhode Island, Connecticut, New Jersey, Delaware, Maryland, and DC always goes Democrat. So that's kind of what we're looking at, and we're going to put Maine's 1st district because that's usually how it works up there. Now, so we're going to kind of take a look at everything, just get a general idea of where we're at before we get into the rest of today's video. If you guys could leave a like, comment, subscribe, that would mean a lot. We are doing really well. I know I wanted to reach 300 by the end of either was it last month or this month, but because of my microphone issues and trying to fix the recording issues to make your guys' listening experience better, it's taken a little bit of time. So with all that in mind, please consider subscribing. If we can get to 300 subscribers by, say, the end of January, I think that would be a tremendous accomplishment. So now we're going to get back into the rest of the video, and I'm going to take a look at the actual approval rating of Joe Biden. So we have 42.8% as his approval rating. I use 538 because you can see different polls, you can see trends and stuff. And they usually have a variety of different polls that you can look at. And so the disapproval rating sitting at right around 52%. Now, do I think this is accurate? No, I don't think it's accurate. I think his handling of the economy right now is absolutely atrocious. You got food prices are up, gas prices are up. It's just the quality of living's gone down. I don't think Joe Biden cares to really address any of this stuff, to be honest. I don't think he's done a good job if he's trying to address it. His handling of the border has been terrible. His handling of crime has been terrible. I mean, he's not strong on the issues that the American people care about. But with all of that in mind, what do I think the actual approval rating is? I think he's more sitting around maybe mid to high 30s at best. And we can look at some of these polls down here. Like, let's see, the first one is from December 12th to December 13th. There's a sample size of a pretty decent sample size, and the disapproval rating is 56%, and the approval rating is sitting at 39%, even adjusted. Now, you have like YouGov, for example, who has it around 41%, even adjusted up to 42%, whatever. I think, they're probably polling Democrats more, because a lot of pollsters tend to do that. Or they tend to underestimate Republican influence, or they're kind of who they would rather vote for, or who they approve of, who they disapprove of. Quinnipiac has it at 40-50 right now. Adjusted, that's a little much. 44%, that's a little much, I think. I think there's definitely some overestimation polling there going on in terms of Democrats. But, who knows? I could be wrong. I'm not saying that I'm right. But now I want to look at Florida. Florida is a very interesting state, because not only is that where DeSantis is from, he won that state back in 2016, I think barely over a point or two. And then he came back, and we can look at the election results of 2022, and he won by almost 22 points, 19.4%. He won. And most of these counties who are, went Republican, even Miami-Dade County. A lot of these counties have been shifting to the right. And like I said, Trump's endorsement, I think, helps him win by that almost 20-point margin. You have just a few counties that are still Democrat. You have Gadsden County. You have Leon County. Alachua County, Orange County, and then you have Broward County. And I think even with time, I think, DeSantis being a great governor, I think he can still shift that to the right. Now, if I'm not mistaken, this is his last term. He can run for governor before he's term limited. So, I'm not sure who's gonna replace him. I don't know who will replace him. I don't know who would be good to replace him, or in terms of fill in that position. Marco Rubio did win this state too by a pretty darn good margin. I mean, we're not talking about senators right now, but that margin was pretty darn, it was a big margin. And let's look at the 2016 presidential results. Trump won this state in 2020 by, 8, 9, 10, 11, by about 4-ish points. And I think if the 2024 election were to happen right now, he would probably win. I'd say it's safe to say he'd win this state by at least 10 points. I really do think. So, and a lot of people are like, Trump isn't a good nominee. DeSantis should be the nominee. And the reason I say Trump should, I've already said in the past, I'm supporting Trump in the primaries. If DeSantis runs, I'm not going to be voting for him in the primary. I'd rather have Trump in office. But if DeSantis is the nominee for the Republican Party, then yes, I will vote for DeSantis. I'm not voting for the Democrat. But when we kind of take a look at how he's performed and how he's really popular, especially in the southeast part of the United States, with Georgia, even Virginia. Youngkin likes DeSantis. Georgia. People in Georgia like DeSantis. It's very interesting. So I think I'm gonna put Georgia, and I'm gonna put Georgia in the likely, purely because of the fact that DeSantis has appealed to voters in Georgia and people in Georgia really well. And I'm going to put Virginia in the lean Republican category for the same reason. And now the state's not as Republican as Georgia, I don't think. I could be wrong, but I think Youngkin's done a pretty good job in Virginia. I know Youngkin would campaign for DeSantis, and I know they would campaign with each other. So I think that I don't think Youngkin would be DeSantis's VP pick if he ran for president, but I think Youngkin would still probably endorse DeSantis over Trump, if I had to guess. So I'm also going to put Arizona into the lean category for the same reason. I know a lot of people are, go into Florida from like California and all these blue states, purely because Florida's in a much better position than it once was, and it's in a much better position than in most blue states. If anything, all blue states. And because DeSantis is tough on the border, he's tough on crime, he's tough. He kept his state open, all this kind of stuff that impacted people's lives and that impact people's lives in a positive way. And I'm going to put Nevada. I'm going to put Nevada in the lean category. I don't really know I think Nevada usually votes Republican, but I could be wrong. But I also think Joe Lombardo is going to have a great impact there in the state of Nevada. We're going to put, in terms of the Rust Belt region, I'm going to put Wisconsin, and I'll also put Michigan in the likely category. This is a state these are two states Trump won in 2016. And I think if DeSantis ran, he would be able to win. I think if Trump ran, he'd be able to win these states as well. But I think for sure DeSantis would be able to win Wisconsin and Michigan. And I'm going to say the same thing about North Carolina. And plus with, Ted Budd winning the senator seat there, that was a pretty big win. And I think Ted Budd's going to be I think he's going to be a great candidate. I think he's going to be a great senator from the state of North Carolina. And Pennsylvania, the reason I don't have New York as safe Democrat, hear me out, is because it was not in the same margin with the governor's race. Now, I know state races tend to be different than federal races. Like, they tend to be, like, in terms of presidential, like, races. But I still think there's an influence there. There's a bunch of House seats that flipped. So I think DeSantis honestly would run the state closer than it has been. I don't think it would get within the lean margin. I think it'd be a likely blue. But I don't think it would be a safe Democrat. And New Hampshire and Vermont, these are quote-unquote Republican-held governor seats. But like I said, they tend to vote different. I'll put Vermont as like a tilt red maybe, and I'm going to put New Hampshire as probably a blue. If they go red, they go red. But at this point, DeSantis is already up 310 electoral votes. Or he's already up 310 to 192. So now that just leaves 3 states. At this point, DeSantis has already won. But what would these states go for? I think Minnesota still has a pretty weak GOP chamber there. I think the GOP needs to be a lot stronger in Minnesota. I think if they work hard enough, maybe in 10, 15 years, Minnesota can go Republican. But as of right now, I don't see it being likely. I'm gonna put it as likely blue. I don't see Minnesota going for DeSantis as much as I'd like Minnesota to. I don't think it will. Pennsylvania is interesting because I think Josh Shapiro is going to destroy the state. I don't think he's going to be a good governor, and I don't think Fetterman's going to be a good senator. I think people who voted for those two are going to realize they made a mistake and are going to vote for a Republican president. I think it's possible that in 2026 that the governor's seat might flip in Pennsylvania and the senator seat might flip. Or is it 6 years for senator? I think it's 6 years for senator. So if in that case, 28, I think the senator seat there may flip. I don't know. But I think in 24 that this is going to be a lean Republican state. In New Mexico, it's border state. DeSantis is known to be pretty strong on the border. And I know Abbott would probably, and I'm not sure if Abbott would endorse DeSantis. I know Abbott might endorse Trump, so I'm not sure there. But I know that DeSantis has appeal in New Mexico. I don't think it's enough to flip the state, so I'm going to put that as a lean category. And just to make sure I got every state on the map here. So that's what I have for today's video. If you guys did enjoy the video, be sure to leave a like, comment, subscribe. That would mean a lot. And let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below. And stay tuned for more political content coming your guys' way.